In today's video, we are going to talk about empathy. Can empathy be a bad thing? Well, the empathy has become a very important topic of discussion in recent years. What we know for sure that it is a bad thing not to have empathy at all. We know that narcissists, psychopaths, or sociopaths don't have it. But how much empathy is too much? Can you have too much empathy? Stay tuned, because in today's video we are going to learn about empathy and we're going to see how we can use it to our best advantage. My name is Daria. Welcome to my online meditation school where you can learn how to live happier and more purposeful life. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to receive all my videos. Down below in the description I also link to my Patreon page so that you can support the channel. Okay, let's get into it. There is nothing more frustrating in any discussion you may have with anybody, at work, at home, in a relationship, in a professional environment, when somebody is not listening to what you are having to say, when they simply do not pay attention, right? Leave a comment below if that situation has ever happened to you and how that made you feel. Also, if you have any question on your own, you can leave it in the comments below and I try to make a video about it. But let's go back. Playing dumb or even saying I don't understand is a valid response in any discussion you may have. It's fine if somebody does not know what you're talking about or doesn't get it. But if you see that they are not listening and they are not trying to get you, this is always the aspect that breeds the frustration and does not let the discussion to move forward. If you hear or if you feel that somebody is not paying attention and is not there with you, you are just becoming less cooperative in getting to any point or any agreement you may have with that person. The opposite is empathy. Empathy is the ability to recognize the perspective of another person and vocalizing somehow this recognition. So this is the academic way of actually saying that you have the ability to put yourself in the shoes of another person, to notice their perspective and to actually feel where they're coming from and to actually acknowledge and commit to try to understand how they are thinking and how they are processing, simply where they're coming from. And here I want to make a very clear distinction between empathy and sympathy, because it doesn't mean that you have to agree with that person. It doesn't mean that you need to share their point of view. It means none of it. If you changed your point of view in order to accommodate the point of view of that person, that would be more of the sympathy. Empathy is simply recognizing and understanding where this person is coming from without changing your opinion about some topic and without necessarily accepting that point of view, but just understanding that this person has the right to have their own perspective on that matter. We could go even a step further. A step further would be try to understand the feelings that are behind the reasoning of that person and what's even deeper in those feelings. And that's tactical empathy. It's like empathy on steroids. So we are trying to understand where the person is coming from and also the feelings underneath all of that. That's tactical empathy. And that's a very powerful tool that we can use in any interaction with any human being. Why? Because people do not take decisions out of nowhere. Every decision that they have and they take has roots in the feelings and emotions that are associated somehow with the process. So when we understand their feelings, we can have a meaningful influence and meaningful discussion about how certain decision was taken, and we can impact the course of the discussion and achieve some common goals if that's something that we want. This allows us to bring attention to emotional obstacles and finding potential pathways to reach the agreement and to find a common goal. By stepping into another person's shoes, we are able to quickly assess what sort of feelings and emotions drive them and how they are taking their decisions. So we are able to understand the way they're thinking and feeling. Empathy is a classic soft skill, but in practical terms, it actually has the physical impact on our brain. We are communicating in a soft way by observing voice tone, gestures, everything. And when we are communicating properly with another person, our brain, which has been shown on the brain scans in the University of Princeton, come into so-called neural resonance. What it means is that our brains are able to communicate much more easily. And it has been proven that people who are communicating well have the neural resonance. However, the people who cannot communicate very well, they are out of the neural resonance. Their brains are not resonating fine at all. So the good communicators and who are good listeners are able to enter the neural resonance and be able to anticipate what the person is trying to tell them, which gives them a very big advantage. So, can empathy be a bad thing? I don't think so. Empathy is simply the easy way to enter the neural resonance with probably many more people than an average person. The ability to enter neural resonance is actually a skill, and you may try to train yourself to be better at it. You can just choose a random person on TV that is actually there right now, or a random person in the street, and try to tune into them and try to understand and feel what's happening in their lives. And the very good thing is actually to watch some kind of interview on TV and try to see where a person that has a certain point of view, where do they come from? If you try to resonate and try to step into their shoes, this is how you're going to create a neural resonance in your brain with that person, and that is going to help you build that skill. So once again, let's just remind ourselves that empathy is about feeling and understanding another person's perspective. It's not about agreeing with this other person. So now let's think, how can empathy be a bad thing? Well, what we perceive is that empathy is taking on others people's emotion without putting any barriers and without any selection, absorbing anything that comes to us because we can perceive it. And here where my advice comes into, we really need to be aware of the fact that we have a choice to absorb the emotions of other people, but we also have a simple choice of not absorb those emotions, and we can train ourselves into it. We can just leave these things to other people. A good training will be non-judgment. So we don't want to judge these people. We don't want to talk about those emotions. We just want to understand where these people are coming from and stop at that. Unless this is a discussion that we're having, for example, with a boss or with a family member or another co-worker, or any discussion of some sort where we actually should understand how they think, because it is proven actually that the best negotiators in the world are very empathetic people. They try to step into the shoes of other people and try to understand where they're coming from in their position, as opposed to the analytical type of negotiation where you're trying to bring arguments and your mind and analytical brain to try to prove your position and try to use reasoning to prove your position. This usually is very unhelpful because people are emotional beings. All the marketing gurus know that consumers take their decisions emotionally. We buy with our emotions, we buy a story. So I wanted to leave you on that note by saying that, in my opinion, empathy is a very good thing. It cannot be a bad thing. It's up to you, it's really your decision, and you are in all the power to use your empathic skills just to the extent that you find appropriate and does not harm you. You don't need to absorb all the emotions. You can build the muscle to really disconnect at the point where you want. With that, I'm going to leave you for today. I hope this was helpful and insightful, and until next time, blessings.